All right, thank you very much for joining me today for thank you for joining me for this webinar on AI-powered grant writing and how we can use it in nonprofits to streamline and make your work more efficient. My name is Quinton Sheriff and I run the Design Co-op, and we use a lot of AI in our tools. If you're interested in finding out more, you can check out our website where you'll see a bunch of webinars and some courses, and there will be an extensive course coming up with 6 different topics for nonprofits. But for today we have this course, which is AI-powered grant writing. So let's talk about what we're going to get into. We're going to talk about the landscape of AI. We're going to talk about AI and grant writing and why use these tools for grant writing. We'll discuss some grant writing software that is out there already. And then I found a really good article on 10 rules to leverage large language models. And we will finish up with some emerging trends in grant writing and AI integration. There is extra information in the course, including prompts and prompt engineering, ways to improve your efficiency, ways to check your data analysis, looking at proposal structures and how you can optimize these. We'll look at how you can embed it into your workflow process, put it into action, and there are a bunch of references and resources that I have gathered as a part of writing this course. So definitely worth checking out the course for all of this extra information. 1 hour webinar is not really enough to cover all of this, and in the course you will get a bunch of downloadable PDFs, including prompts, including resources, including templates that you can then modify and edit for your own use. So there is a smarter way to fund your mission, and we're going to cover the following concepts. We're going to identify the core components of AI. We're going to outline the fundamental steps that we use to build AI systems, and this will help us better understand what AI can do and what it cannot do. We'll identify specific advantages and disadvantages of using generative AI. Carrying on in the full course, there is a plan for integrating AI into your non-profit grant workflow. There are prompts available for your prompt engineering and for data analysis, research, and budget creation. There is more information on the AI tools that are available in the grant-seeking environment, and there is information on recognizing the boundaries of generative AI in grant writing. So let's talk about the landscape of AI. There are a bunch of grant writing AI tools that are already available on the market, and some of these you can see in the column on the right. We have Freewill, Grantable, GrantBoost, and Instrumental, and these are specific AI tools that have been created to help grant writers. Then there are also generative AI tools like ChatGPT, Gemini Google, Jasper, Copy AI, and Writer. And perhaps you've used some of these before because they've been around a while as well. And these are generative AI, and they're for content creation. So they're not specific for nonprofits or for grant writing, but they do help you create your content and synthesize and brainstorm and come up with ideas, and they are great for research as well. So let's go through. So all in all, we see that these are all in all, we see that we started out with generative AI tools like ChatGPT maybe 3 years ago, I think it came on the scene. And now we have found niche markets and platforms that are specific to helping us write our grants. So there is a timeline here with AI development, which begins in 1950. Perhaps that's surprising for you, but yes, artificial intelligence and machine learning has been around since the 1950s. And there was this programmer called Alan Turing who created this test called the Turing test. And it's designed for you to check the intelligence of a machine, or how closely a machine can impersonate and imitate human thinking processes. So there was a bunch of other points in the timeline, including the term artificial intelligence was coined in 1955, believe it or not, and the first introduction of industrial robots at General Motors, GM, in the US started in 1961. There was a first chatbot called Eliza, which was begun at MIT in 1964. And then there was a bunch of experimentation and challenges, many projects that didn't get started, didn't get off the ground from 1966 to 1997. And then in 1997, IBM came up with a supercomputer called Deep Blue. And this happened when I was a teenager. I remember that IBM challenged all of the best chess players in the world to come and play against Deep Blue. And it was a big thing when Garry Kasparov, who was the reigning world chess champion, was beaten by the computer in 1997. And this was the first time that we saw that AI, that machine learning, and that machines could not only become equal to the work that we're doing and the work that we put out there, but could actually beat us. Fascinating. Then there were a bunch of different advancements, and they came out with a lot of projects and products like Kismet, Eyeball, Roomba. Perhaps you remember Roombas, which were those vacuum cleaners that you had on your floor, and you could map out all of your apartment spaces, and the Roomba would go around your apartment and it would clean up and navigate around objects and figure out what it had cleaned and what it still needed to do. So we saw some interesting applications to machine learning. After this, with Apple's mobile phones, the Siri application, where you could speak to this app and it would give you responses, like it would tell you what the weather was and what was in your calendar that day. That was begun. Watson and Eugene Guzman passing the Turing test. There were the Alexa speakers by Amazon. I had an Alexa in my house and got rid of it after about a year because I was a bit concerned with the privacy and data, but sure, it was an interesting tool to ask about certain things or get you to create games for you or set up items throughout the day, like when to wake you up, when to remind you to do this, that, what, and the other thing, etc. And then nowadays there are all of these powerful AI tools that have proliferated the market. We've got ChatGPT, DeepSeek, Google Gemini, many different tools. Alhamdulillah. So let's get into it now that we've seen the landscape of AI and what we have generally and broadly used it for in the past. So why use some AI tools in your grant proposal writing? There's three different elements that we're going to go through, and the first one is improved efficiency. We all want to cut down the time and the work that we're doing and make it more efficient. So, AI tools can help streamline funding discoveries. They can help match the precise details of what the funder is looking for and what your proposal has. You can use it to get some advanced classifications, help it to analyze and predict trends. You can get it to analyze the content and the semantics and the grammar to figure out the key terms, the content, and the conditions that the funders are looking for. You can use it for historical data analysis in your work or in the funder's work that is online. And you can use it for predictive insights, such as analyzing the patterns in successful and unsuccessful proposals in the past. So fantastic for improving efficiencies. The second reason to use AI tools is for enhanced accuracy and data analysis. When you're putting in a proposal, you're using a lot of facts and figures. You are generally uploading a budget and a timeline or project guidelines, and you can use AI tools to help streamline all of this. It allows for more targeted proposal development, and the submissions will align more closely with funder expectations, with the goals, with the objectives. And then it can ensure that non-compliance or misalignment is skipped, so your work won't instantly be rejected. And finally, optimized proposal structures is the third reason to use AI tools. So it'll help you create an intelligent outline generation. There will be narrative structure creation and assistance, especially if you're asking it to give a storytelling bent to the work. It can help with team collaboration and optimization, and help the team realize the different parts that they need to complete. And this is going to help your collaboration. It's going to improve the accuracy, and it's going to make your time more efficient, so you can get done with these grant proposals in a quicker time and perhaps move on to other upcoming grants that you could also consider applying for. So, specific grant writing software can give you specific benefits, such as your data processing capabilities. The user interface can be specific for grants, so it can leave out all of the dashboard stuff that is unnecessary and only focus on the content creation or passing the data and creating a story out of the data that you've uploaded. Grant writing software and platforms also have certain customization options. So depending on the area that you're working in or the area of grants you're applying for, you can customize this to make it more aligned. Finally, it'll help a lot with the reporting features and how to give you the content and the reports in order to apply for these grants. So let's get into the 10 rules for using AI in grant writing. So rule number 1 is check the guidelines of the funding agency regarding AI. So you want to make sure that the funder guidelines talk about using AI, just in case they say no AI is accepted and your grant will be rejected if you use it. So that's the first step. Just check their website, check their guidelines, look for an AI policy or a use of AI section, and be sure to check in frequently and regularly, because as you are learning about grant writing and AI in this course, so are these funding agencies updating their knowledge and updating their work and their policies. The second rule is to consider data privacy and the limitations around this. So everything that you upload to the AI tool and platform is given to them. You give them so much information, so much data, and you have to be concerned about what are you sharing. So private people's details or budget details. Maybe you don't want other people to know this stuff, but if it becomes uploaded to the platforms, then it becomes part of the content that that software can formulate and send out to other users. So just be concerned about that and err on the side of caution. If you are using a specific AI platform, look for the privacy policies and what they say about data retention, so how long they hold on to this data. And be very careful with any sensitive or proprietary information. So if this is information that is private and internal to your organization, you don't want to be sharing this with a public platform that you don't really know what they're going to make use of or how they're going to share and disseminate this information. The third rule is don't use AI to write your grant. Get started with this step first of all. So, AI's been found to be very general. It spits out very bland, generative content that reads often at a slightly immature level. It doesn't have scientific validity. It hallucinates, which means it makes up ideas that it cannot find the sources and data points for. So you gotta make sure that you write your initial draft for all of these sections. Doesn't have to be the whole entire content that you write, but giving it strong ideas for your viewpoint, your direction that you're working in, and perhaps the vocab and the alignment to what your organization, your charity, your non-profit is looking for. And then you can bump this up and improve it with good prompt engineering. And we'll go into that in the course. So when is it good to use AI for your grant writing? Well, use it for revision and refinement, and don't use it for the initial content generation. Because if you start out by using it at the beginning with this content generation and it gives you something mediocre and mainstream, middle of the road, then it's difficult to polish this and improve upon this. If you start out with your individual ideas and you have a good idea of what you are writing the grant for, then it can help you revise, edit, and polish this to be even better. The fourth rule is to use custom prompts for specific feedback. So I mentioned prompt engineering in the previous slide, and if you write in the correct prompts or write in detailed prompts, you're going to get detailed, targeted, and helpful feedback. When you're writing prompt engineering to get the specific feedback, give context about your role, about the type of grant you're applying for, about the funding agency, and then check alignment with the mission of the agency, improve the clarity of your writing and your data, refine the grammar, and assess how coherent it is and how clear it reads across the different sections of the grant. So it can be useful, for example, to align the written content with the budget and make sure that every role has got a budget item and that the amounts that you're putting in there are a decent amount to get the work done, for example. The fifth rule that we come to is fact-checking everything. So I mentioned that AI hallucinates and it can generate misleading facts. You don't want to upload a proposal that has a bunch of errors in it. Make sure that you can check on all the facts, statistics, and references that the AI is generating for you. So one of the prompts that I use is, if you're going to generate facts, figures, diagrams, I would like a link to the web resource so I can go and check this. And then you can click on the links of the content it generates and see that if it says 23% of blah blah blah, you can click on that web link, make sure that it opens up, and you can find that section that says 23% of blah blah blah, so you know that it's not making it up. The consequences of not checking through your work are the same as any editing and revision. If you send off something that is a draft and that has not been fact-checked, you might submit this grant with inaccurate information. They might come back to you with queries, or just discredit the grant and delete it from the pile. So make sure you go through everything, fact check everything with a fine-tooth comb. Here is an example prompt that I use in the course for Rule 5, and this is about the fact checking. Here's an example. You'll respond like an academic colleague, citing claims, opinions, and figures from authentic published sources. Avoid inventing sources, and if you're uncertain, acknowledge so. So quite a useful prompt. Please take that and use it in your non-profit grant writing. Carrying on to rule number 6. Don't copy-paste immediately into your proposal. Read through the AI-generated text and use it as an inspiration, because there's a lot of plagiarism, a lot of bias, a lot of fluff and unnecessary words. And remember, this is an AI that is using predictive text, so it doesn't really understand what you are trying to do or what the aim of the grant writing proposal is for. Treat the AI as a draft or a suggestion for your own editing and refinement. And then a practical tip is to copy-paste the work into a comparison tool like Word and Google Docs. Give you comparison tools where you can take your original draft, you can input the AI draft, and you can see what has changed and keep track of it that way. It's worth doing it and worth using the AI tools, but again, it adds an extra layer and an extra level of checking and accountability. Well worth it, but you have to add that extra layer in. Rule number 7 is use this process to become a better grant writer. So humans and AIs alike learn by taking in the data and iterating on it. So working through the data again and again and again. So the benefits are that it improves your critical thinking, it improves your writing skills, and it improves your ability to incorporate feedback. Just from any other human member of your team, they will read through the grant, they will put some comments and queries, and you'll use this to edit and revise as an ongoing process. So you can do this by analyzing the AI suggestions. You can think to yourself critically and say, does this strengthen the application? Is it clearer if I take the AI content, or is it clearer if I use my written content for this? And then it's good for you for self-training, because you can identify these different patterns in effective writing and you can apply them to your own work. So it is good to use this as a little critical check for your work and what you are creating as a writer. Rule number 8, use the AI for inspiration in developing figures, tables, diagrams, charts, flow charts, conceptual figures. This stuff is tough for us to do, and it takes time to analyze data and create a pie chart out of it, for example. So use the AI to do that heavy lifting and then just double check its work. For these tools, you need to move a little bit outside of the grant writing AI zone, and you can use things like DALL-E or Midjourney, which are very good image creation AI tools. You've still got to check through the work because it is susceptible to hallucination. It can plagiarize other content that is out there, and it can incorporate certain bias. And then follow rule number one. Follow rule number one, which is checking the guidelines of the funding agency to make sure that it's okay for you to use AI tools. Rule number 9, don't forget to interact with humans. So make sure that you are sending your work for human review to catch certain scientific or technical errors, to give you human feedback, and to give some mentorship or coaching. Get involved with your peers, with mentors, with senior colleagues who may have written grants before, or reach out to another grant writer and ask them to look over your work if they're in the same sort of field. This will make sure that you have a stronger, more competitive grant application, and it's also going to improve your grant writing skills. And then rule number 10, it's not all work, it's not all boring. You can use it to play. You can experiment with different prompts, try out different AI tools and platforms and see what gives you a better result that you're looking for, and question formats. Make sure that you understand the AI capabilities and the limitations firsthand, so you know what you can use the AI tool for and what you should leave it for, and focus on doing yourself as the human. And then becoming proficient in leveraging AI is going to improve the writing quality and efficiency of your work. So those are our 10 rules for using AI in grant writing. And we can carry on with emerging trends in grant writing with AI. So some things that we are already seeing and that we are going to see in the future is that there will be increased application volumes. Instead of humans writing the grants from beginning to end, now you're going to see a lot of people leveraging this generative AI. So there's going to be a lot more grant applications that will be sent for these different grants. As a result of more applications being uploaded to apply for the money and the funding, you're going to see shifts in funding strategies from the funding from the funding organizations themselves. They're going to change their strategies. They're going to shift the way that they request information, or their policies on AI writing, for example. Keep up to date and engage in training programs so that you've got the best information at the time and you can use it well. Collaborate with tech experts, such as myself. Doing this course right now is you collaborating with an AI tech expert. I use AI in grant writing myself, and I have even won grants using AI tools, so it can be done. And then review emerging tools, because there are many different platforms out there, and there's a lot of more platforms and more organizations that are going to be started and built with AI. So there is a course that you can join for more information. The course explores how artificial intelligence is transforming grant research and proposal planning, and it covers 3 critical areas: discovering funding opportunities, understanding funder requirements, and organizing your proposals efficiently. It also includes a section on prompt engineering, which is writing strong prompts to get the results that you're looking for, as well as incorporating AI into your process and your workflow. finally, there is a useful AI toolkit, and if you download the list of AI tools, you can find a bunch of them that are specific for content creation and image creation, which is what we've been discussing in this course so far. There is a new course coming up in autumn, which I've been talking about, and you can sign up for it through that link below. So I am available now for any questions, any concerns, anything that's on your mind. Please do share, and either by putting in the chat or by unmuting your microphone and letting me know what's on your mind and what I can help you with. So thank you very much for joining for today's webinar and the introduction to the course on using AI for grant writing. I hope this was useful and beneficial. I hope it answered some of your questions and your queries and looked at some of your concerns. And please do get in touch if there is anything that I can help you with.